Thank you, Jamie. And I'll take that as my cue to get started. So welcome to this workshop on using Mendeley. And my name is Paul Grohusky. I'm one of the engineering librarians at the Architecture and Engineering Library. And in just a moment, I'll turn the floor over to my colleague Carol from the Taubman Health Sciences Library. So we are in a Zoom meeting, and we want to invite you to use chat for questions and comments throughout the meeting. Please keep your microphones muted. Although we will have a question and answer period at the end of the presentation, and you're welcome to unmute at that time. Closed captions are available, and we are recording the meeting, and we'll share the recording and the presentation slides after the meeting. So before we begin with Mendeley, we'd like to give a really quick overview of the University of Michigan Library. And in specific, the Architecture and Engineering Library, or the Engineering Library. So again, I'm Paul. I'm one of the engineering librarians. My colleague Lena is out of the office today. Jamie, do you want to jump in and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie. I am in charge of the many departments you see listed under my name. Welcome to learning about Mendeley today.
So we three are the engineering librarians. We have a colleague in waiting who will be working with biomedical engineering. If you see your department listed on the slide, please contact one of us for questions about the library. And if you are interested in a research consultation with one of us, you can use the calendar application to schedule an appointment to meet with one of us at your convenience. If you're not in the College of Engineering, you can find your librarian at a link that we will share in the chat in just a moment. And the last thing that I want to mention is that there are additional workshops next Wednesday, October 12th. Our colleague Joanna Thielen will be introducing Deep Blue documents and Deep Blue data. And on October 20th, our colleague Catherine Vanderball will be presenting on getting started with Zotero. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing, give the floor to Carol, and learn about Mendeley.
Okay, I forgot to ask, should I be sharing my personal slides, or?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just a little bit. There we go. Okay. So this will just take a minute. And there we go. This. Okay, so let me now. For some reason today I'm having extra trouble seeing my slides. Oh, I know what the trouble is. Okay. Okay, so again, Mendeley.
Hey, Carol, you're so it's on presenter view for us. Is there a way that, is there a way that you can switch it?
Yes, I want to. How about that?
Yeah, so this is the
excellent.
Perfect. There we go. Great. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Okay. So what does Mendeley do? It does what all citation management programs do. That is, it imports references from a variety of resources, what people think most of as article databases and journal websites, but it can also do other things to create a personal database of references in areas that you're interested in. You can organize your references into groups And what's great is that an item can be placed in more than one group, so that if you decide to organize your library by topic and then have specific groups that are for projects, you can put a reference that is in the topic group into the project group, and that will not duplicate or triplicate it in your library. The best thing that it does, and you will love it for this, is that they insert in-text citations in papers, and then they format those citations and bibliographies in literally thousands of styles. There are more than 6,000 styles available. Most of them are based on a double handful of base styles. But whenever you need a style, it's good to check to see if it's easily accessible in whatever program you're using. And they also let you collaborate with others by creating private groups. And just excuse myself for 1 minute. I apologize, my office is near my cat's litter box and she needed to use it. So Mendeley has both a web and a desktop application, and you can sync between both of them. They look pretty much the same, except you need the desktop application to work with Word documents. Just so you know, for some people, this is an important point. The desktop application is not a native app. It is the web product that is wrapped in an app format. You need to download and add the web importer for every browser you use so that you can import items. You use Mendeley Cite to insert citations, so you'll need to download that as well. So this is what a library looks like. On the left, you see the organization of your library. So all references, you will see recently added items and recently added if you actually had recently added anything. And that changes day by day as you add things. Recently read, if you use the little icons that you can favorite things if you want. You can also keep a list of your publications. And then there's the trash. Down below are collections, and that's how you organize your library in Mendeley. And down below that are the private groups, which are how you collaborate with other people. Private groups are both physically at the bottom of your library and also completely separate from your library. So if there are references in a private group that you want to keep in your personal library, you need to move them up to a group. But private groups are things that you use for collaboration. Everybody on your team has Mendeley. You create a group for your project. You invite everyone to work on that, and then you can all use whatever references are within that group. Okay, yes. Up at the top are some drop-down menus. They don't actually provide much help. Edit is more for working in your references, and tools is where you'll be able to download the web importer and Mendeley Cite. A note of Mendeley Cite, it uses, it just went out of my mind. A code that the medical school does not accept as secure. And so if you work within that environment, Mendeley is not the best program for you at this moment. And then to add references, let's see, did I add those? Sorry. Oh, first I want to go to, if you need to add references, you click Add New. And there you go. So here is where you can add read or not read. It's totally optional. And then if you click on any of the references, then a window opens up like this. And that includes all of the information on in your record. And so the top by default Info is the first tab, and it includes the metadata, so the item type, and that is very important in any citation management program, that is correct. And then titles, authors, and read. This tells you that there is a file, which you can see over here. You can read the article. If it's not there, there will be a message asking if you want Mendeley, could you go and find it? And then you can see that there is the abstract and then other sorts of information. You can also note up at the top on the right column, there are tags so that you can focus your groups as much as you want. So you can use collections as the broader group and then use tags to further focus what you do. So you add references from electronic databases using Mendeley's web importer, or if you want to export a large number, I'm talking hundreds or thousands of references, it's best to use the .ris format, or if you're in PubMed, the citation manager, to export them, because otherwise it can take a little while to select everything that you want from a large number of references. You can import existing libraries from other citation management programs using these formats, bibtext and note.xml and RIS. So if you're using something else, you can import it into Mendeley. You can also import from Mendeley's research catalog, which is a group of everything that everyone that has been using Mendeley from the beginning, so 2008, I think, has been uploading to their libraries, de-identified. So it doesn't say that Carol uploaded this, but it does give you a space to find references if you want to use it. And I've occasionally found that helpful. It is not edited or controlled in any way, so it's not the best place to start your search. And then you can also add references manually. Okay. So first you add the web importer, which is a little widget from the tools menu. It gives you a little M icon, and when you're in your list of references or list of results from a database, I'm thinking right now of PubMed, but it can be in any database. You click the icon, you'll sign into Mendeley, because you do need to sign into Mendeley Cite. It's a separate add-on from, even if you're signed into Mendeley Desktop Reference Manager. And then you can choose select all or select individual references to import. You can see that if PDFs are available, there will be a note. And that is not just PDFs that are freely available to everybody. Mendeley also works with our subscriptions. It doesn't work with all of them. It works with the major publishers. And so a lot of PDFs are automatically imported when you import your references. Note over on the right where it says My Library, you can change that to a specific group. So you can import one or more references into a specific group, which can be very useful. So RIS format. I'm thinking of CINAHL here, and that's what this example is from. You would add the results to a folder, then click the export button on the far right in CINAHL, select direct export in RIS format, as you can see here. And then over on the right, there's a save button, or on the left rather. In something like this, where you save a file, you can leave it in downloads, or you can save it to your desktop. Just make it someplace that you can easily find it. And as I said, this can be a really useful way to export a large number of results. Sometimes, for example, in Scopus, which is owned by the same company that owns Mendeley, you will see an actual Mendeley export, but that only happens in a few places. And then when you import them in Mendeley, that add new button that I pointed out on the main library page, you click that and select the first file, and that will, then you'll get the opportunity to browse for the file that you just exported. So again, if you're going to add something manually, I hope you don't do this too much because you need to be very careful. So click again the Add New button and select Add Entry Manually. And in the new window that opens, you select the type of reference from the type drop-down menu. This, I can't emphasize this enough. No matter what citation management program you have, it's essential that the reference that you're working on has the right type applied to it, because that is how it will be formatted. So if a journal article has the type of book, it will not be formatted properly and it will look quite strange in comparison to what it should need. So if you have to enter by hand, then you just want to enter enough information in a few record fields, not everything that's available, to create a citation, such as author, the title of a book or title of an article in journal, publication year, place of publication and publisher for a book, or volume, issue, and page numbers for an article. And then click the Add Entry button and you'll be all set. So for articles that that don't have PDFs brought in automatically with them, you can still attach files to them. So you just open the record for the article, scroll down to the Files plus and click the plus sign, navigate to the folder where your file is located, and then you select the file and click the Open button or double click to add the file to the article record. And you can add more than just PDFs. You can add any type of file you like. So if there are articles that have images or tables that you think might be useful, you can download those separately and add them to your item record. So as I said, you can add tools. So to add Web Importer in Mendeley Cite, you just go to the Tools menu in Mendeley Reference Manager, select Install Web Importer and Mendeley Cite, and then you'll be set. For Mendeley Cite, you actually have to go to the Microsoft Store. So if you don't already have a Microsoft account, you will need to create one, and then you'll be set. It just takes a few clicks and you're ready. And it appears on the References tab. Nice big red M. Okay, so here we are in our article. We want to insert a citation. So we've got both Mendeley Reference Manager open and the article with Mendeley Cite open. And you place your cursor exactly where you want the citation to be. So if you're using APA style or any author date in text citation format, you'll want to have a space between either the final punctuation or the letter. If you're using any style that uses, for example, a superscript, you'll want to make that right next to the final punctuation or the letter. And there is no citation manager that can do that for you. It's unfortunate, but true. Then you click Mendeley Cite, and that opens up this window that you can see on the right. And by default, you have this References tab. And also by default, all references is listed, but you can also click on the arrows in all references and find a specific folder if you want to. And then you can either, if you've gone to a specific folder and you want to just skim the references, you can do that, or you can add in the search box an author last name or a word that will pull up the article or articles that you want. And that's what I've done here. I just used Japan and I found the articles that I want. So then I clicked in the boxes next to them. And once you select the references you want, you'll see them appear as you click. Once you've added all of the ones you need, you go down and click the insert X number of citations. Okay, so once you've added citations, you'll notice, here you can see that this is in the APA style. You can change the style with the click of a button. So if I said, oh no, I forgot to change the style before I started writing, I could click the change citation style now, pick the citation style I want, and the styles would be immediately changed, no matter what kind of a style it is. And it would be changed throughout the paper. And good thing to know, and what is really fabulous about citation managers, is that if you're using a numbered style and you insert a citation before it, before any other citations, the numbering after that new citation will change automatically. You don't have to change it yourself. And yes, you can even change the citation language if you want. And note also that there's a preview. So if you look at the citation settings before you actually start to insert citations, you can get a preview and see that, yes, this is an author date type of in-text citation, and that below that is what the bibliography will look like. So to edit a citation, it's really very easy. There are a couple of things that you'll want to do. And so when you first enter a citation, you'll see a faint box with 3 dots around the upper left of the citation. And then you can also see in the Mendeley Cite pane that it's now possible to edit the citation. If you're going back to a group of citations, all you have to do is highlight the citation that you want to edit, and you'll see the same message appear. Editing in general means adding page numbers, book chapters, a prefix or suffix, but see also, or suppressing the author, which you might want to do if you're using an author date type of in-text citation and you use the author's name at the beginning or somewhere in the sentence. You don't need to duplicate the author's name in that case. But it can also, editing can also be used to delete one of the references. And instead of going into the Word document and deleting the reference, what you do is to come here and just click on the right of any of these citations and take out the one you don't want. And again, if you're using a numbering system, Mendeley will renumber everything for you. Okay. So by default, Mendeley Cite opens with the References tab, but you also have the citation settings where you can choose the citation style. And then the last tab is where you have the option to insert a bibliography, update your citations from the library, and more. And a note, this applies to all citation managers. If you see a problem with your citation, that is a problem with the item as the record, the item record as it is entered in your library. Maybe this is something you entered by hand. Maybe something came in not quite appropriately electronically. You correct the record in your library, not in your paper. And that's what the update from library will do. So if you notice it, you can go back and change that. Okay. You want to add the bibliography by placing your cursor exactly where you want the bibliography to be, because if you're not careful, you'll get the bibliography in the middle of your paper. It's easily rectified. You just undo. But as it turns out, EndNote does this, and you click a bibliography and you get the bibliography at the end of your paper, and it's really magical. But it turns out that getting that to happen in all Word documents all the time is a more difficult coding operation than either Mendeley or Zotero care to invest in. And so you really do need to be a little bit thoughtful and insert your bibliography where it should go. Also, if you insert your bibliography after you've started writing the paper, but while you still are writing the paper, it will continue to add citations as you add them into your paper. So you don't have to keep inserting your bibliography. It will update it if your bibliography is supposed to be alphabetical. Mendeley will update that so that the proper alphabetical listing is in your bibliography. These last two things, for inserting citations and formatting citations and bibliographies, makes any of the time that you take to learn Mendeley well worth the effort. Okay, so that was a very brief tour through Mendeley. Does anybody have any questions?
Hi, I have a question. I'm sorry, I totally missed the part where you got the icon on the word. You're using a Mac computer, correct?
No, I'm using a PC.
A PC. Okay, so I can use either, but like, is there
Yes.
like a link? Like, so I'm on the web, but like, is there like, all I keep seeing is like using the web to import the citations to the Word document, not having an option that's already on the Word document. Okay.
No, when you import references, you import them to your Mendeley library. And then once they're in your library,
sorry.
or yeah, you export them from an article database into your library. And
Right.
once they're in your library, then you have them accessible. Oops, I was trying to go this way.
So you see how you have in your Word document the red icon? Like I know how to, like, I've EndNote, but I use Mendeley. I've been using Mendeley for a while, but I've never actually used it in the Word. Like it's not been in the Word document. I just want to know, like,
is it the Mendeley cite that you're noticing?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is a separate add-on.
Okay.
The web importer is what you download to import things. Yeah, and then Mendeley cite is a separate add-on that is where you do your work with Word documents. So yeah, it's a separate process. That is what comes from Microsoft. Yeah.
But there's no option to like add it onto Microsoft. Like that's where I want to like.
If you download Mendeley cite from the Microsoft store, it gets added to Microsoft Word automatically.
So Mendeley Web Importer and Mendeley Cite, you're saying are different.
They are different. Yes,
okay.
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah. That's all I need. I know there's probably like remedial.
No, that's fine. Sometimes, especially, I don't know. I think sometimes when we're virtual, we go very quickly, and I'm famous for going very quickly. So it's very easy to just run right past things. So thank you. I'm glad you asked. Does anyone else have any questions?
Carol, I'm going to ask a question if I may.
Sure.
So, and apologies if I missed this, but I'm remembering way back with my first citation manager, which was RefWorks, we were always cautioned to review the citation formatting to be certain that it was that the citation was formatted correctly. Have managers gotten better now? Are they smart enough to get things correctly?
They are better, but it is always wise just to check. I had a really terrible experience with Zotero. As it happened, I was using it, and I changed to it for some reason. I forgot now. On an article that I was writing. And of course, all the problems happened on the day before I wanted to submit it. Luckily, there wasn't a firm deadline, but absolutely everything went wrong, but it was very obvious that something strange was going on. That journal articles were not formatted consistently. Like, for example, Zotero was for some reason not keeping the journal titles abbreviated, which is what they needed to be, but some of them were complete and some of them were abbreviated, and things like that. So Mendeley has always been, and Node and Zotero have always been better than RefWorks ever was, because RefWorks always had problems with every citation style. But except I don't know that I would have noticed the problems with my references if I hadn't bothered to check, because I really wanted to just not think about it. And that's the great thing about citation managers, is that with luck, they let you not think about that sort of thing. But I was doing a final check and I saw, oh no. So at least check to see that one reference of each type seems to be accurate. I think that's not a bad thing to do. And I'm not saying anything bad about Zotero. I think that there was something in the ether that day, because Zotero is normally very dependable. But yes, and I meant to say something like that. As I say, I've rarely had problems with them, and not as much as in RefWorks. And I never understood why RefWorks continued to have such problems with citation styles, but there we are. But yeah, it's a good habit to look at it. You don't necessarily have to look at every last reference that you check, that you have, because sometimes you have 100 or more. That would be hard to check every last one. And once Mendeley did have a problem with the dissertation style. I think it was the dissertation style. There was one thing that was missing, and it was a bug in Mendeley, in Mendeley's cite. Mendeley and Zotero use the same database for their citations. So that was an interesting thing. But if you ever notice any problems like this, or any problems at all, please let us know, because this is how bugs are found in programs.
Thank you. And I see Masahiro has
okay. Yeah. I started to use install Mendeley today. Then I'm going to write academic journal or dissertation in the future. Then my question is, does the University of Michigan provide paid version of Mendeley to students? I mean, when I check the Mendeley, there is I'm using a free version,
right?
But there is some upgraded version. Then there's some capacity is limited in the free version. Then my question is,
yeah, I have never filled my capacity up, even up to the level of the free version. And as a Mendeley advisor, I get much more storage space. But I know that some students in engineering have filled it up simply because they've uploaded a number of huge articles and reports. So I would say that if you don't think you'll need a PDF, don't upload it. You can wait to buy one of the premium plans until you're farther along, until you have proved that you need it. So I would question that. The university does not provide the paid version. No, we don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I did ask about that at one. I did ask about that at one point, but we never did that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions? Yes, Jade, just feel free to unmute yourself.
Okay, so I don't know who the person was that asked that, but like I've been using Mendeley like when I was a PhD student, and then now I'm a faculty person or whatever. Does that make a difference if you're using like two different accounts? Like, so I'm using like a regular UMich account, and then I have a med.umich account. Does that make a difference? Like if I, in terms of how it's operationalized?
I think that if they haven't found you out, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference in how it works. The only problem is that while you're on campus, you cannot download Mendeley Cite. And I couldn't because I was on the UMHS VPN. But I came home with my work computer and was perfectly able to download Mendeley Cite. So that's one workaround, which I'm sure HITS would not approve of. But there's no difference in what you can do. You will end up with more storage space if Elsevier does not track you down. I can tell you, having just tried for a different reason to create a new Mendeley account, I cannot hide from Elsevier.
Yeah, I just want to, because like I did the Mendeley site, I was able to download it, but it's under my med.umich. And then like, but opening up regular Word, it's not, because this is a work computer. So, so like I'm noticing that I can only do one functionality, like it's on, I didn't know if they
it shouldn't change anything like that. I mean, the main problem is that unless you can take your work computer home, download Mendeley Cite at the time. I don't know how locked down it is. If you can do what I did, if you can do that, then you might be able to use Mendeley Cite on your med.umich account. My problem is that no matter which of my two, and I might make a third, personal accounts I use, they know who I am. And I can't, I wasn't even allowed this last time to create a password for my new account.
Okay, that's helpful. And I didn't, oh, sorry. I didn't catch the beginning. Everything is all web now. It's not like, because I've been using it for so long that it had that icon.
Well, like Mendeley Reference Manager, and they changed the words so that people would see the big difference, because it has changed a lot. There's the web version, and then there's the version that's on the desktop, which is an app, but not a native app. That's why the web version and the desktop semi-application, shall we say, look the same.
Yeah, because a way long time ago, it was like almost it would the interfaces were like different. Like,
oh yes, very, 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 very different. Very different.
Thank you.
I remember that. And it's still possible to use Mendeley Desktop. They're just not allowing people to download that anymore, and they haven't supported it for at least a year. So yeah, using that is questionable. Any other questions? I'm always happy to answer questions. Please contact me directly at cshannon@umich.edu. Also know that the research guide on Mendeley is right here at guides.lib.umich.edu/Mendeley. And I hope you enjoy working with Mendeley.